I turned a Tesla Model 3 seat into my new office chair. Yes, it came from a real Tesla Model 3. It's a driver's seat from a 2022 Model 3, and it has power recline, power seat tilt, seat heating, power lumbar, everything you would expect. And after fabricating the new structure and wiring it all up, I can confidently say this was a very rewarding DIY project. Now, before we get started, I want to say I hope my wife isn't watching, because by the time we're done this video, I'm going to go over all the costs that went into building this rig. But if you're interested in building one of these for yourself, do follow along, because I'm going to share what worked, what didn't, what mistakes I made, and there were a couple, and I'm going to give you all the inside information you need to build one of these faster than I did. The idea for this project really started earlier this year when I had seen some folks on X talking about building their own Tesla office chairs. I love the idea. My Model Y is so comfortable, and I love the idea of having an office chair from a Model Y or Model 3 seat. Well, I found one on Marketplace up in Massachusetts, and I just so happened to be on my way up there for a business trip, so I arranged to meet the seller on the way. The seller had upgraded his 2022 Model 3 to the newer ventilated Highland seats and was selling the originals. The seat I picked up was in excellent condition, all of the wiring was intact, and that's important because I knew I wanted to retain all of the power functions. When you're shopping for your Tesla seat, make sure it has the wiring. Even if you don't want to use the power functions like I did, you're still going to need to wire up some 12-volt power to maneuver the seat to make room to build it, so it's important to have some of the wiring intact. Now, before we go any further, I want to say that my video is intended to be a companion video to 3 other channels out there that have done a great job covering the basics of building your Tesla seat. Backshop Electric and Tesla Tim do a good job of showing the construction, while the Springdale Robotics video on the Spotted Model channel walk through the wiring process for connecting your Super Seat controller to the Tesla chair. All the videos are linked below. My goal with this video is to share some of the tips I learned along the way as someone who's not a fabricator. I'm handy, I'm a home DIYer, I have plenty of tools, but I've never worked with metal before, I've never fabricated furniture before, so this was a learning experience for me, and I think if you patch their overall instructions up with some of my inside tips, you should be able to build this pretty quick. Lesson 1 for me was powering the seat during the build. I had to maneuver the seat base in order to access all of the bolts to remove the seat rails and seatbelt mechanism from the donor seat. And I just didn't know how to do this. I knew that I could attach 12-volt power to it, but it was a Saturday afternoon. I was in the middle of the project. I wasn't going to be making tool store runs and buying extra things. So I had to think about, what do I have in my garage? How can I patch together a 12-volt power source and wiring to the wire harness that's there? After some trial and error, I ended up creating what might be the sketchiest electrical setup I've ever built. I used my jump pack, some Wago connectors, pieces of a paper clip, and somehow it actually worked. I was able to tap into the wiring harness and move the seat exactly where I needed to remove the factory rails. The second lesson I learned in building this project was drilling through the steel. Now, the angle iron and ultimately the crossbars I used are all 1/8 inch thick steel. And I did have the correct drill bits, and I also had cutting oil, but I was going about the drilling process wrong. I had never worked with metal before, and I didn't know the keys to drilling through metal. So while I was able to drill the holes through metal using my high speed and single drill bit technique, it took forever, and it just slowed me down big time. And the trick is, in addition to having a sharp bit and cutting oil, you need to go slow. So my Ryobi drill has a 2-speed setting. You need to go on speed number 1, which is the slower of the 2. And you also can't start right off with your bigger bit. So I needed to drill a 3/8 inch hole. Well, I couldn't just start with a 3/8 inch bit. Well, I could, but it would take quite a while. That's a lot of material to remove all at once. So what I ended up doing was starting with a really, really small drill bit, and then I stepped up to a 1/4 inch, and then I stepped up to the 3/8. And that process was able to get me through all the holes I had to drill in a reasonable amount of time. Drilling all the holes through the crossbar, for example, There's 4 holes, but there's 2 sides you have to drill through, so 8 holes per crossbar. That could take me about a half an hour per crossbar. So while it wasn't fast, I was still able to do it and do it well and do it the right way. The next lesson I learned was the actual steel selection itself. For my first go round, I went to Home Depot and picked up the 1/8 inch thick angle iron that I needed. They had it in stock, no problem. And then I picked up the square tube steel that I needed. Now they only had one option, and that was 18 gauge steel. And it did feel quite a bit lighter than the angle iron, but in my mind, steel is steel and it's heavy duty. Until I went to go fasten it all together, and I noticed that the steel tube 18 gauge did crush a little bit when I used my impact to tighten everything down. Now, not much, but just enough to give me pause. So I did a little bit of research. I'm a big guy. The Tesla seat is heavy as it on its own, and I wanted to make sure I could build this once and build it the right way, and it would hold up. So I ended up going to Amazon, picking up some 1/8 inch thick walled square tube steel stock to bolster the construction, and I also picked up grade 8 hardware at Home Depot. Totally overkill, but like I said, I wanted a tank build, I wanted to do this once, and I wanted it to last forever. So I had to redo part of the project to re-drill those crossbars, reinstall them, and then use beefy hardware to make sure it was all safe. Once I had the right materials, the actual build process became much more straightforward. Just be sure to file your cuts, mark all your holes, use your center punch, and step through your drill bit sizes. Test fit as you go, test fit again, measure twice and cut once, as they say. One trick that helped me quite a bit was using blue painter's tape on the steel. This made it really easy for me to mark my measurements and hole locations, and then I could cut or drill right through the tape. Sometimes the simplest tricks like that make a big difference. One thing I noticed about many of the other Tesla office chair builds I've seen is that they don't have armrests. And for me, it was important to have armrests. It was not an option to leave them out. After some searching, I found a set on Amazon that included steel mounting plates. I chose this set specifically because of the mounting bolt locations. The set I chose have a series of 5 mounting holes, and because of the construction of my chair, I could use 3 of them to securely mount the armrest brackets on each side. And you'll notice I used a different set of 3 holes on each side of the chair. And that's because the side rails, the angle iron, isn't perfectly centered on the chair. The horizontal pieces both flare out to the left. That means it's offset a bit from center. So I was able to use the inside section of one armrest plate and the outside section of the other armrest plate, and that offset counteracted and gave me nicely centered armrests on the finished project. After marking the holes with my blue painter's tape, I was able to drill them out and fit it perfectly, and I'm so happy with the end result. If I built another chair again tomorrow, I would definitely include the same armrests and install them in the same fashion that I did for this one. And with all the assembly done, I moved ahead to wiring up the super seat, which was a very straightforward process following the video from Springdale Robotics. And the end result is everything I hoped for. The seat is super solid with its upgraded steel frame. There's no bending, creaking, flexing, nothing. It is super solid and super comfortable. I love having the heated seat, and the lumbar support is great too. And the reclining adjustment is also really nice because I can adjust it during the day depending on what I'm doing and how I'm feeling. One last tip is to keep your 12-volt power source handy until your build is done. That's because you might need to make some final adjustments to the seat height at the end. I needed to raise the back seat tilt function of my seat higher to get the perfect seat bottom angle, and the Springdale Robotics Super Seat does not control that movement. It is something you only need to set once, so no big deal that the computer doesn't control it, but you will need to adjust it when you're done and making your final tweaks. All right, now let's talk about the costs. It ended up being a little more than I expected, but I think you can justify it if you do some car fan math in your head. As I said earlier, the seat cost me $100 off Facebook Marketplace. Then comes the Springdale Robotics Super Seat controller. That was $400, which was a big investment, but having the power functions and seat heat was really important to me. In addition to the seat and the computer, there were also just miscellaneous parts I had to buy, like the steel for the crossbars, the steel for the side rails, the bolts, and all of that. Everything all together, all the parts and hardware that went into my chair, means the finished chair came in at about $690. Now, you might be thinking that that's quite a lot of money to spend on a do-it-yourself built chair, but my last office chair might have been $150 or $200, and it lasted not even 4 years before the fabric was worn out and it just wasn't something I was going to sit in every day anymore. And with this being an automotive grade seat, with that super strong steel base and the automotive grade 8 hardware, I really have high expectations for the seat here. I think it's going to hold on for the long term. These seats are meant to keep you safe in a crash. They're built super strong. The upholstery is meant to hold up to all kinds of weather conditions and temperature ranges and humidities. You think about your own Tesla. The dogs are getting in it. Kids are in it. These seats are pretty indestructible. So I really do feel like this is going to last me quite a while. And if you decide to just adjust it yourself once and skip the super seat, you can build one of these for under $300. So, final thoughts for the project. Well, if I knew then what I know now, I probably could have built one of these things in half a day. As it is, it took me about 3 times longer than I expected to put this project together. But with that extra time comes new knowledge. I learned a lot of things along the way. I enjoyed the creative problem solving I had to do. I learned how to rig up a 12-volt power source using nothing more than the materials I had in my garage. I learned how to drill through steel the proper way and size it properly for your application. And those are skills that will help me on the next project. And the end result is an office chair that I'm going to use and enjoy every day. I have the pride of a job well done and the comfort and power functions of a Tesla seat here at my home office. So if you're thinking about building one of these chairs for yourself, which I highly recommend, start off by learning the lessons that I learned the hard way. Make sure you choose the proper gauge steel from the start, use proper hardware, know how to rig up your 12-volt power source because you will need it, and also make sure you use the proper techniques when drilling through your steel. Also, go back and watch those other videos. Again, Backshop Electric, Tesla Tim, and Springdale Robotics on the Spotted Model channel all give you the basic foundations that you need to do it. Layer that on with the tips I shared here, and you should have a great experience. If you do decide to build one, let me know in the comments what seat you use. Are you going to use a Model 3 or Model Y seat like I did? Maybe a Cybertruck seat? Maybe you'll use one of the newer seats from a Juniper or Highland car that have ventilation, because that does work with the super seat. I really would be curious to know what you use and see your results and hear from you how happy you are with the project. And there you have it, my Tesla Model 3 office chair build in a nutshell. I hope you found this helpful. And if you did like this video, go ahead and click the like button down below. Also, subscribe to my channel. Subscribing costs you nothing, and it really helps my small and growing YouTube channel, and I really appreciate it. I produce all kinds of content on EV mods, EV maintenance, road trips, charging, and everything in between, and I love bringing you all along on my adventures. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on another one again soon.